It appears as if the defense of our country has been greatly neglected. Up to now, it had not been our concern, and we were simply conducting our usual business. But recent developments are a cause for concern. I have a shoe repair shop on the square in front of the Royal Palace. Opening my shop in the morning, I see the streets leading to my place occupied by soldiers. But these are not our soldiers. They are, instead, nomads from the north. In a manner that is incomprehensible to me, they have reached and invaded the capital, which is actually far from our borders. At any rate, they are here now, and it seems that every morning there are more of them. One morning, I thought that I had seen the emperor himself in a window of the palace. Otherwise, he never comes out to these outer chambers. He always lives in the innermost parts of the palace. This time, it appeared to me that he stood with his head lowered, looking at what is going on below. The salvation of the fatherland is entrusted to us, but we are not up to it, nor have we ever claimed to be capable of such a task. It is a misunderstanding, and it will destroy us.
Németország képviseletében Edmund Friesenmayer doktor követ és telhatalmú megbízott jelent meg.
History provides evidence of momentous events that lead in an unpredictable new direction. This is replicated in the structure of drama, the poetic form of history, in which developments necessitate a totally new path. In the tragedy of the Hungarian Jews, such a dramatic turn came about with the disclosure of the Auschwitz Report.
We met in the cafe of the National Museum. Dr. Geza Schorsch, otherwise calm and collected, on this occasion seemed to vibrate with excitement. I sensed that he had something extraordinary to communicate. He said that in Auschwitz, the underground organization succeeded in bringing about the escape of 2 young Slovak Jews. The escape bordered on the miraculous. The urgent task then was to let the world know what was happening in Auschwitz. When the two men reached a safe location, they recorded an extensive documentation of what had been kept secret. They even added drawings to add validity to the factual report. A member of our independence movement, residing in the vicinity of the Slovak border, received a German copy of this report, and he lost no time in transmitting it. On the morning of our meeting, a courier delivered it to Geza. In the cafe, we placed our briefcases on an empty seat between us. During our conversation, Geza slipped the report from his briefcase into mine.
I had to concentrate on the translation so I could complete it as soon as possible. The report revealed the total and terrible reality of the extermination of human beings. I have not been able to blot this out. My work on the translation was also the cause of dramatic moments, my own fault to be sure. Well, one day, it was warm in my room, so I went outside with my papers and dictionary to the ground-level terrace, which was only 3 to 4 meters from a loose wire fence. A strong gust of wind came along and caught one page of my German text, including drawings, and it flew against the fence. On the other side of the fence, an armed German soldier was on guard. The Germans occupied the houses all around. But by the time I got to it, the guard had reached over the fence. He removed it and returned it, politely. József Eliáš gave me the assignment to take the translation to Sós in Uri Street at the castle. The foreign ministry had an office there. I started off for the castle from Sena Square. But just then the siren sounded for an air raid. I had to stop and seek refuge in a basement. After finally reaching the castle, I found the police checking for documents. It was a great relief when I finally reached Geza Sós and was able to give him the German and Hungarian Auschwitz reports.
The concentration of Jews in eastern Hungary has begun. From now on, every day, special trains will each carry 3,000 Jews.
I had the task of calling Countess Regent Horthy every day for several weeks on a special phone number, and after introducing myself as the bookbinder, I asked if she had any work for me. I took the Auschwitz Report to her. Later, I heard from the Countess about Regent Horthy's reaction to the report. He accepted all of it as the truth.
I talked about these matters with Regent Horthy, and he used expressions that I cannot repeat here. These damn gangsters, he said. They do even this kind of thing. Incredible! I read it and saw it in black and white. They even put children into gas chambers. This was the big turn. It must have been the middle of June.
I wish that the suffering of the unfortunate people because of their nationality or race may not be extended and aggravated.
The United States demands to know whether the Hungarian authorities intend to deport Jews to Poland, a measure that would in the end result in their mass execution.
The United States is warning Hungarian authorities that all those responsible will be dealt with severely.
Regent Horthy, I have decided to turn personally to your Serene Highness to ask, in the name of humanity, that you intervene on behalf of these unfortunate people.
Without proper consultation with the authorities, 2 provincial police battalions arrived in Budapest. Colonel Kudar, a member of the secret Hungarian independence movement, the MFM, succeeded in getting one of the provincial police unit's key men totally drunk. In a drinking establishment, the officer related that battalions were prepared to deport the Jews from Budapest. The commander declared that it was ridiculous for an 86-year-old lunatic king, the King of Sweden, to give advice to a 75-year-old nut, Regent Horthy, that they were only fooling themselves if they believed they had stopped the deportations. If necessary, his battalions would deport the Jews from Budapest, together with their regent. When the drunken commander spilled the story, 2 officers, both of whom were in touch with the underground movement, approached Lieutenant Colonel Kosurus about the need to act.
The 15th Air Force put 509 heavy bombers and 1,200 tons of bombs over targets in or near Budapest. This attack, although targeting primarily the industrial complex south of Budapest, was the only bombing raid of the war with a direct and significant effect on the Holocaust.
On the evening of July the 2nd, I met Lieutenant General Károly Lazar, the head of Regent Horthy's personal guard, at the bank of the Danube in the center of Budapest. We discussed the woeful and disgraceful condition of the country. Lieutenant General Lazar confided that sadly the commands of Regent Horthy were no longer heeded. Lazar revealed that Baki, in charge of the deportation of Jews encouraged by the Germans, intended to overthrow the government to establish a radical anti-Semite state, and for that he would recruit, organize, and prepare needed forces with German support. Baki intended to organize a violent coup d'etat. Without much reflection and hesitation, I asked Lieutenant General Lazar to urgently inform Regent Horthy that if I received the appropriate order, I could bring about the compulsory removal of the provincial battalions. I was fortunate to get to know these outstanding soldiers in extremely difficult circumstances. The troops got to know me, too. We complemented these units with fresh forces. The Nazis did not know of the existence of our division. I received from Lieutenant General Lazar Regent Horthy's order to prepare carrying out of the proposed maneuver as soon as possible. I was having dinner in Budapest with my uncle. We had hardly finished our dinner when at 22:30 my bodyguard appeared and reported that Regent Horthy was calling me urgently. After a car trip of a few minutes, I appeared at the Royal Palace. Horthy received me in the presence of Lieutenant General Lazar. Horthy personally handed me the order to take those elements of the 1st Division that I had placed in readiness and to remove Baki's provincial police battalions from Budapest immediately, by force if necessary.
That night, a series of dramatic events took place. Just a stone's throw away from the center of Jewish life in Budapest and the headquarters of the Jewish Council was the Pannonia Hotel, the residence of the chief executioners of the Jewry. Around 2 o'clock in the morning, a car from the office of the regent pulled up in front of the hotel. A high-ranking officer got out and took the leading Nazi collaborators to the royal castle, escorted by sidecar motorcycles armed with submachine guns.
Ez az első eset, hogy a katonai erények elismerése.
All parts of the armored regiment and the reconnaissance battalion had arrived at the points I had assigned. All roads leading to the capital were sealed off. The order that I had sent caught Baki's people by surprise, resulting in bewilderment, running around, and a lot of telephoning. It was evident that Baki was counting on the help of the Germans. Baki began the retreat from Budapest. It appears that the German invading authorities realized that it would be better to act in this fashion. The removal was completed by July the 8th.
At the time the operations were to begin, General Lazar gave the order for the air raid alarm to be given. During the alarm, which lasted several hours, they posted tanks and armored divisions at strategically important points of the city, and the insurrection was immediately squashed.
The coup d'etat story involving Baki, which apparently the regent believes, is a story that people with evil intentions put into his head to cause trouble for Germany. The actual cause for this movement is the fear that Germany is losing the war. That is the reason why these people are making a desperate effort to create an alibi for their future.
In all my long experience, such a thing has never happened to me before. That won't do. This is contrary to our agreement. It cannot be tolerated.
I met the legendary Raoul Wallenberg. I was one of the first persons he looked up. Then I spent a long evening of discussion with him.
Regent Horthy intervened for the Jews in a series of minor cases, and it is a fact that on 2 occasions, trains filled with deported passengers were ordered to return before reaching the country's border.